Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, Tasmanians are just one day away from finding out the plan for the reopening of our borders. The Premier will tomorrow announce a roadmap out of the closures, which has seen families and friends separated during some of the most difficult times of their lives.
A family in pieces. ASHLEA Hayes' mother died unexpectedly on Saturday. Based in Victoria along with her sister and their family, they began frantically applying for exemptions to return to Tasmania.
The day my mum died, we all jumped in the car and got COVID tests. You know, what situation does that happen?
After dozens of phone calls, a handful of rejected G2G applications, they finally arrived in the state yesterday, but they weren't approved to quarantine together.
In the worst time of our lives, you know, we're all grieving separately.
Her father now by himself in the house where his wife died just 5 days ago. ASHLEA left with just one hope.
For someone to hear us to maybe change the situation.
A reality faced by so many over the past 18 months.
It's the people whose weddings were cancelled last weekend, or the families who have been unable to be reunited for a funeral, that can perhaps better than I can articulate just how painful it can be.
Hopefully soon coming to an end. Tasmanians preparing to find out how and when our borders will reopen. The Premier previously flagging only those who are fully vaccinated and test negative within 72 hours of their travel will be able to enter.
Tomorrow it will be announced in a way that keeps Tasmanians safe and accepts as well that tourists and returning Tasmanians want to be able to return.
But not until the state is at least 90% vaccinated. Labor is concerned about what will happen to our health system when COVID arrives.
What happens when we get to hundreds? We had to call in the army when we had 100 active cases on the northwest coast.
Those resources are in place. We have significant ICU capability together with surge capacity.
The countdown now on for tomorrow's announcement. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
The search continues for a third person missing since Monday after a boating tragedy in the state's northwest. Thomas Corto was on board the half cab with his friends Isaiah Dixon and Brianna Thomas, but never returned to Wynyard after setting out. Yesterday, authorities discovered the bodies of Isaiah and Brianna at Table Cape after an extensive land and air search. There is no sign of the boat they were on. An email to Labor Party members from David O'Byrne has been slammed as disgraceful and distasteful by the woman who accused him of sexual harassment. In the letter, David O'Byrne says he acknowledges for many people it has been a traumatic and confusing time, thanking members for their understanding. Federal MP Julie Collins refused to comment on the email.
We've had a process that has been gone through. It is a process that has been robust. There's been a person put in place. It is an internal party matter, and I think, frankly, the public are sick of the Labor Party talking about itself.
Writing to Labor leader Rebecca White and Senator Carol Brown last night, Rachel Midson says she believes the email was intended to traumatise her further, calling for them to take action. And vulnerable Tasmanians will now have better access to healthcare, with City Mission unveiling its new centre in Launceston. Mission Health will offer drop-in services with nurses once a week.
When we first opened the service, there was just 1 or 2 people we'd see each week. And suddenly as people develop trust in the service, then, you know, we're running every Thursday morning.
Its new premises are larger and more modern than the previous one, with plans for expansion in the pipeline. Organisers of the Royal Hobart Show have hailed day one a huge success, with thousands of Tasmanians turning out. The event going ahead after last year's was cancelled, but organisers have big plans to reinvent it to ensure it survives another 200 years.
There are plenty of thrills and spills for the whole family at the Royal Hobart Show.
Good weather and to get the kids out and about after the bit of a lockdown last week.
But there's one thing in particular that drew revellers in for the opening day.
The rides. I like the G-Whizzer and the roller coaster.
Huge crowds came out for a day of fun after COVID cancelled last year's event. This year numbers are capped and masks are mandatory to ensure a COVID-safe event.
It's 5,000 people per session, so we've split today and tomorrow up into 2 sessions so we can try and get 10,000 through. Normally on public day we would do over 20,000 people.
PJ Masks putting on a show for the little ones.
Remember that time Catboy got shrunk down really small?
Some of Tassie's best wood choppers were on display. Hobart celebrities put their decorating skills to the test, and of course show bags were a hot favourite. The show celebrating everything old and new. While there were some jaw-dropping moments in the freestyle motocross event. It wouldn't be the Royal Hobart Show without celebrating Tasmanian agriculture. Rearing English Leicesters has been in the Hazelwood family since the late 1800s.
My grandfather exhibited here and my father exhibited here, so I'm the 4th generation to bring this breed of sheep here to the show.
Now in its 200th year, the Royal Hobart Show is the oldest in Australia. To keep it modern, organisers have big plans to reinvent the wheel.
We're going to make it more contemporary and we're going to try and pitch it to a larger audience. So I think we're going to be successful at that, and I think that that's going to ensure the next 200 years of the Royal Hobart Show.
The Royal Agricultural Society has received $42 million from the state government to rebuild the showgrounds in the next 2 years to hopefully keep the event alive for another 2 centuries.
And reporter AINSLEY KOCH has been having plenty of fun herself at the show. AINSLEY, what's in store for the next few days?
The Royal Hobart Show is always a fun day out, Kim. Around 10,000 people have walked through the gates so far and they haven't left disappointed. Now, of course, this year numbers are capped due to current COVID restrictions, except for Saturday, which will be a full day event. Of course, there's plenty more action over the next 2 days for those lucky enough to score a ticket with the usual rides, more bike stunts and those fabulous old steam trains. Now, tomorrow we can expect live music and alpacas will also be on display. Now the event wraps up in about half an hour, Kim, but I think I might try and sneak on one more ride before I head home.
One of the state's most renowned artists, Tom Samek, is being remembered as a man who helped put Tasmanian art on the map. His distinctive works attracted attention here and around the world and included a number of large-scale murals in Hobart. Aside from his creative flair, Samek was also generous to many local charities. He died last week after a long battle with a chronic illness. He was 71. The Bob Brown Foundation has held a protest outside the Premier's office against burning native forests to create so-called green energy. The use of wood biomass has been promoted around the world as a renewable energy source, but protesters say the practice is harmful to the environment.
Cut carbon, not forest. Cut carbon, not forest.
We can't burn our way out of a climate crisis. We actually need to take real action. And this farce that we would sacrifice our forests for a solution that doesn't actually work is madness.
The demonstration coincided with the International Day of Action on Big Biomass. A new Launceston Music Festival has revealed its lineup, but organisers say revellers are in for a surprise. Party in the Apocalypse, named after what organisers describe as a crazy year, is set to reinvigorate local artists who have been starved of the stage since the pandemic began.
A return to the stage, music to the ears of performers and punters. A new festival to begin summer. For LUCA BRASI frontman Tyler Richardson, it's a welcome opportunity.
I went from a lot to absolutely zero, to basically nothing. We've just started playing shows again, but that's obviously on the mainland, and it's been a very different world, especially putting out a record this year and not touring it.
Last year's lockdown providing perfect conditions for the band Jekka to be born. Taking to the stage for the first time in March, Jess Bakansky is now gearing up to perform to 5,000 people, the largest crowd of her career.
I was terrified, so I said, would you mind if I brought some accompanists? And I kind of, at my first show, had 2 boys come up to me and say, I really want to work with other musicians, are you looking for bandmates? And while I was talking to one, the other came up and I was like, should we just do this?
The lineup for Part 1 of Party in the Apocalypse released, with acts from across Australia to take part at Launceston's Churchill Park. The festival to go ahead regardless of whether the state's borders are open or not.
We've worked around the model that we can open up tomorrow and do this festival if we wanted to. We've been in talks with public health all year round. We've been in multiple meetings, on-site meetings. We've also got the G2G passes to be able to get the artists into the state.
The only surprise at this festival...
Can't say where, what and when, but there is a Part 2.
It will be held on December 3 and 4. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians are being encouraged to turn off the taps tonight as part of a national push to be more mindful about water use. Households taking part in the Water Night Challenge will try to last until midnight without using running water, instead relying on a bucket of tap water and pre-filled water bottles.
I think the more people can be made aware how often they touch their tap, well then they'll be able to start changing their behaviour.
On average, Australians reach for the tap 9 times a day. Members of the public have been urged to avoid the area where a dead sperm whale has washed ashore on South Bruny Island. The whale, located near Cloudy Bay, is 18 metres long and weighs an estimated 40 tonnes. The Marine Conservation Program says due to its large size, there is no feasible option for moving the carcass.
Tasmania has pulled off a thrilling 3-wicket win in the Sheffield Shield. After a number of rain delays, the Tigers were cruising at 3 for 142 at the WACA last night, before losing 3 quick wickets to send shivers through the dressing room. But an entertaining cameo from Jared Freeman, along with support from Jake Doran, helped guide the visitors towards the target. Doran fell late, leaving it fittingly to Peter Siddle to hit the winning runs with just 26 balls to spare.
Here's Morris, right arm over the wicket. Siddle backs away and cracks it through the covers, and Tasmania will win the Shield game.
It followed Siddle's 5 for 40 with the ball in the second innings. Lawrence Neil-Smith was named man of the match. A leading talent ambassador has highlighted Clarence young gun Sam Banks as a top prospect in the upcoming AFL draft. Kenan Sheenan believes the 18-year-old's precise decision-making and execution will attract attention. Banks has starred for the Devils in the NAB League underage competitions, earning All-Australian honours in 2019. He was also selected in the 2021 NAB League Team of the Year.
Good evening. Temperatures today mostly sat between 1 and 7 degrees above average. Hobart 24, Launceston 22, Burnie 16 and Devonport 18. Matsika Island the top with 25. That's 11 degrees above average after Butler's Gorge recorded the low of 0. Bushy Park 24, Strawn 23 and Grove 22. Flinders Island reached 20. King Island and Friendly Beaches 19. St Helens 18. Smithton and Low Head 17 degrees. Low-level cloud sat over the north and east while a band of high cloud moved over from the west during the day. High cloud over the eastern states and just to our west, cloud associated with the lows over the west of the Northern Territory. An onshore flow has also brought cloud over the south of WA. Tomorrow the cold front approaches Tasmania. A trough extends from the west across the mainland. Northeasterly winds reaching 20 to 30 knots over the lower east coast, but tending more variable and easing in the afternoon. Strong wind warning though down that east coast from Wineglass Bay to southeast Cape. Tomorrow, Friday in Hobart, showers developing and 23. 23 also for Huonville, a late shower for Campania, 24 the maximum. Launceston 22 with a shower or two. Showers increasing for Devonport, 18 and 18 the top for Georgetown. Burnie a high tomorrow of 17 with showers increasing. Showers also on the way for Strawn, 21 the maximum, 18 the top for Wynyard with showers increasing as well. Cloudy for St Helens and Swansea, 18 and 20, 19 the top for Port Arthur with a late shower. The UV a high 6 across the state tomorrow. On Saturday a few showers rolling in, temperatures back into the mid-teens, a few showers into Sunday as well, south to southwesterly winds freshening, and on Monday mainly fine apart from a shower over the east, southeast and Flinders Island. Partly cloudy and 22 in Perth, 22 as well in Adelaide but with late showers. A shower developing in Melbourne tomorrow, partly cloudy in Sydney, showers and a possible storm forecast for Brisbane. And it's still sunny in Hobart and 22 degrees. Great to see the show went off really well without incident, Kim, or apart from that 90-year-old man who ran naked through the flower pavilion. But he did win the best dried arrangement.
Oh, do you practice these all day or what? That is your news for now. We'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us tonight. Good night.